favor her.
Brandy has already been crowned the all-around champion and is trying to become the first ever to win the 4 individual events.
Her first vault is a Yurchenko with a full twist. Beautiful position in the air. Now she's a little bit off center on the mat, and that will be a slight deduction.
Perhaps the most intent onlooker was Kathy Johnson, her mother. If not Kathy, certainly Coach Kevin Brown, making some corrections before Brandy's second vault.
Now, as we noticed before, she was off center on the mat. It looks right there that she was actually off center on the horse. That's very unusual.
First vault score, 9.687. So she is in position to win the first event.
This is one of my favorite vaults coming up. She does a handspring front pike with a half twist, and she usually does it so beautifully. Way up in the air. Has to pike down a little bit on the landing, but that's just a slight deduction. It's such a strong second vault, and again, it's valued at a 10.0.
A difficult vault, well done. Brandy with Coach Kevin Brown. She's back with Kevin after she went with Bella Caroli during the Olympics.
It is crucial for a gymnast to have 2 strong vaults worth 10.0 if they even dream of medaling in this event. The beautiful second vault.
And on the sidelines, Coach Kevin Brown with a little boogie trying to help Brandy through it all, and together they get it done very nicely. And the judges give Brandy the best score yet, a 9.875 for a 2-vault average of 9.781. Brandy Johnson takes the lead as Holly Voorhees is set to vault.
And as you can see, she scored a 9.75 to qualify in this event, but that just shows her potential. None of the scores carry. She does a handspring front pike, a beautiful vault. Has trouble with the landing, but that's a very difficult landing. This vault is worth a 10.0. Now, the amazing part of her vault is the distance she gets from the horse.
She's a real athlete, 16 years old, from Frankenmuth, Michigan, Holly Voorhees.
Good height from the horse. Nice position in the air. Just has trouble with that landing. It's a pretty substantial hop.
Now they await the numbers. First vault score, very good, 9.70 for Holly.
Now she performs a layout Sukahara, which is only valued at a 9.7, but keep in mind it's higher than most of the values of the other second vaults we've seen. Nice vault. Again, that hop on the landing, but her legs also separated on the pre-flight.
And some commendation from Coach Ricky Garcia for Holly Voorhees.
It was one of the strongest second vaults we've seen in this competition. But again, it's only out of a 9.7. You could see her legs separate, just nice position in the air. Here you can see her very substantial distance from the horse.
She really does get elevation and extension. Holly Voorhees gets a 9.425 for an average of 9.562. So Brandy Johnson takes the first individual event. One event home on her look for a sweep.
What is really exciting for Brandy is those 2 vaults could really help her win a medal in this event at the World Championships.
The official standings, Brandy was followed by Holly Voorhees, Kim Kelly, and Sandy Woolsey. 1 gold medal for Brandy Johnson. The individual event finals of the U.S. Gymnastics Championships continue with the very difficult men's pommel horse competition coming up.
Tink will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob. By Reebok. By Thompson, the first name in lasting protection. And by Brute Quality Men's Fragrance and Toiletries. Brute, it smells like a man.
Back at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships, this is Don Cricky with Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson. That's how the all-around results stood 2 weeks ago with Tim Ryan a surprise winner. Those numbers don't count in the individual event finals that we're watching now. Kevin Davis, who is a standout on that great University of Nebraska team of recent years, is getting set to perform. But first, let's go back to the floor exercise and an Ohio Stater, Michael Racanelli, who really put on a show. Bart?
Mike is a terrific gymnast. He's new to the national team. He's very explosive, and he's coached, of course, by Peter Corman at Ohio State University. Peter won a bronze medal in floor exercise in the '76 Olympic Games. Michael opened with a beautiful layout double through to back handspring straddle jump to a front 1 1/4. Everything about this exercise is world class. The tumbling is terrific. A full in the second pass. He has good flexibility. Those are called flares. Does him up to a pirouetting handstand and then shows tremendous flexibility in a straddle split. Little originality in his press to handstand sequence through the split position. Nice style for Racanelli. Talking to Peter Corman the other day, he said that when most gymnasts normally work out 3.5, 4 hours a day, most of the senior elite gymnasts, he said Michael can work out as much as 7 hours a day and not get tired. He just loves to be in the gym. He's a real hard worker. Racanelli finished his floor routine with a full twisting double and stuck the landing. That's a world-class floor routine. That could medal at the upcoming World Championships.
Medaled here in Bloomington, Minnesota, the 9.80 score gave Michael Racanelli the floor exercise championship. Now Kevin Davis is set to perform on the pommel horse, as difficult an event as there is in gymnastics.
As you can see in the all-around competition, he scored a 9.35, but those scores don't carry over. All the scores start from 0 in the finals. One interesting note about the finals, typically for most event final competitions, the judges demand a higher level of difficulty, more D elements in the exercise, and certainly Kevin does a beautiful job as he does excellent flare work up to a handstand, good form on the scissors. He travels down, loops to a handstand, and a full pirouette off. Nicely done. Kevin has excellent form. The last half of his exercise, however, is lacking in difficulty. The first half is terrific and certainly world class. He'll need more difficulty in the last half if he hopes to do well in the upcoming World Championships.
9.50 is the score for Kevin Davis, who competed for the U.S. at the Seoul Olympics. Here's Conrad Vorsanger, a most impressive young gymnast from Stanford.
Conrad opens up with flares as he travels across the horse, and he's having a little trouble. He seemed to be a little off rhythm. Maybe he was rushing a little bit in the first part of the exercise, and you can see he has trouble as he comes down from the handstand into the scissors.
I asked Conrad Bart about his tremendous progress. He said it's not a long-range thing. It's day by day, inch by inch.
Well, he's had a terrific year. He was the Pac-10 all-around champion this year, but he had trouble on that routine. It looked like he got off to a really shaky start because he seemed to be rushing a little bit. This is a very difficult sequence as he travels across the horse in the flared position without using the pommels. Really tough stuff. But it seemed like he was in just a little bit of a hurry.
9.15 is the score. Tim Ryan is up next on the pommel horse. He talked with Bart about a fluke injury he had on the event earlier in the year.
It was on pommel horse. You know, I was jumping off, and there was crease in the mat, and my foot landed in that, and it rolled under, and gave me a lot of problems for you know, a couple events this year. I couldn't compete in the U.S. Challenge, and it was still sort of weak against Russia when we competed against them. And but throughout training since regionals, it's gotten back to full strength, and it's not a factor anymore.
Well, Tim is certainly very strong on the pommel horse, and he has really good basics. His coach back in high school, Gene Watson, coached him in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, where Tim drove 40 miles to and from training every day to work out with Gene. And Gene really stressed important basics, good form. Oh, a little trouble there on that dismount. That's a very difficult dismount, a hop to a handstand, but he was just a little short going downhill.
Tim Ryan, the 18-year-old men's all-around champion, who's our strongest gymnast.
This is an incredibly hard dismount. You'll see he's going to hop to the end and try and catch it in a handstand, and he's just a little underbalanced. But it's a good thing he's so strong because he can muscle it up. That will be a deduction, of course, but he saved a major deduction.
Tim Ryan gets a 9.30. And so as we look at the final standings in the men's pommel horse competition, Kevin Davis is the winner. Ryan second, followed by Vorsanger. Brandy Johnson already has one championship in the vault. Now she's getting set for the uneven bars when we get back. His best, the uneven bars. Brandy Johnson excelled on the bars in winning the all-around competition 2 weeks ago. Up first is Sandy Woolsey, a difficult event. Once the competitor begins a routine, power and grace must be interconnected. It's an event like the floor exercise that rewards the spectacular.
Nice reverse heck. Good height above the bar. Just straddle back to handstand. A little awkward on that handstand. This is her favorite event, and this is where she really has the cleanest execution of all her events. Giant full turn over the top, right into a tuck double flyaway. A few form deductions in there, but good difficulty, good swing.
Sandy's getting better meet by meet. Her coach, John Aitken, a former national high bar champion, congratulates her.
And this is the highlight of her routine. It's a move of D value, the hardest move. It's a reverse hecht. It's a giant with a full pirouette over the top. She was a little bit over too far when she made the pirouette, but ended nicely with a tuck double back.
Score 9.65 for Sandy Woolsey, and she's pleased. That gives Sandy the early lead. 9.65, the number that Brandy Johnson has to shoot at. But up next is a U.S. Olympian, Shelley Stack, a young lady that actually radiates electric energy.
This is Shelley's best event, but some of you might remember she had trouble with compulsory bars at the Olympics in Seoul. Nice hop to reverse grip, front giant, pirouette, right into a reverse giant with a full pirouette into a reverse hecht. Beautiful routine so far. Nice difficulty. She has a good combination of different types of elements. Many of the girls tend to use a stock routine, all the same elements. Just two giants into a tuck double back flyaway. Really pretty routine.
Shelley is congratulated by coaches Richard Gishi and Trina Tinty from Scats in Southern California.
This is a nice angle to see the quick hand movement she uses. It's a giant to a full pirouette, right into a reverse hecht. Looking for good height here. Now she catches with her arms a little bit bent. That's a slight deduction. Now many of the gymnasts are using this combination, giants into tuck double back flyaway. If they're going to be competitive with the rest of the world, they're going to have to upgrade the difficulty of the dismount.
9.725 is the score for Shelley Stack, who exhibited grace and continuing motion throughout. Brandy Johnson now knows that she must score a 9.737 to take the lead.
And another way of upgrading the difficulty of the routine is having two major release moves, and Brandy does just that. Early on in her routine, she does a beautiful combination. She does a reverse hecht, and then right into another release move. There's a reverse, and I can't believe it. She hasn't missed all year long. And the problem here is this is a bad place to miss for her. She usually does a second release move, and without the connection, she can't do it.
That miss is a 1/2 point deduction for Brandy, and it'll cost her a chance at sweeping the 4 individual events.
She's also in jeopardy of not receiving a potential 4/10 bonus point. She finished nicely. Now, as I mentioned, there's a bonus point system. All routines are judged from a 9.6 if they have their basic requirements. Then there's a 4/10 of a point bonus system. 3/10 for originality of elements and combinations, and 1/10 for the extra D. She doesn't have the extra D since she didn't get to do her second release move. She has a beautiful reverse hecht and just can't get her hands on the bars.
Here's Coach Kevin Brown as he watches. He's spotting for her now, but on the miss, he must walk away. He can't help her remount. Her mother, Kathy's in the stands and knows all the nuances of this sport.
Uh-oh. She's never done that before. I don't know. She can't come out of one release move. I mean, she does one release move out of the other.